reorient my stool. Got my phone over here so I can look at the live chat. Oops. Okay, there I am. Hello, person here. I'm going to be making an easy live culture media recipe. Got a lighter in my back pocket I want to take out. Oop. There we go. Like I was saying, I'm going to be making some live culture media, and it's a really easy recipe where I'll be using honeycomb and corn syrup. And I'll be making it in a coffee pot, and I'll be sterilizing it in a pressure cooker. All right. So I'm going to do a little more than half a quart-sized jar. I could do the full jar, but I wanted to colonate pretty quick. So that's why I'm not doing the entire mason jar. So I got it measured out in here, and I'm going to put it in the coffee pot like so. I did a bunch of shorts recently where I was doing this recipe, and I stitched them all together and uploaded it as a video, but I didn't have any of it as one continuous piece, so that's why I wanted to do this. And I also just kind of like live streaming. So I got a shot glass here, 1.5 ounces. I'm going to measure out 1 shot of McCormick or Great Value corn syrup and add it to the coffee pot. Hello, what's up? Hello from Australia. Hey, nice to see you. And what up? We're making liquid culture media. So I'm gonna measure out 1 shot of this corn syrup. The Great Value brand, it's pretty cheap, and it's not like you need anything fancy for this recipe. So I would recommend just getting a bottle of Great Value corn syrup. And I bought this bottle almost probably 5-6 months ago. So you don't go through it super fast either. So I would highly recommend just getting the Great Value corn syrup. I'm just put the 1 shot in the coffee pot. And then as for the honey, I am going to cut a piece of the honeycomb out, and I'm going to put that here in the filter area and just run it through. Yes, pickles or cucumbers, whichever. Come on. There we go. So the honeycomb, it's just wax. And so you don't need a knife or anything like that. You could just use a spoon. Oop. This amount right here is plenty. A little bit of honey goes a long way. I'm just going to take the coffee filter out and wipe the spoon. Why complicate things, right? So now I got the honeycomb. Just going to put this right back in the filter zone. I'm trying to structure the filter in there, kind of how it usually goes, you know, how it's supposed to go. Because one of the major benefits, you would think I've never made coffee before, but one of the major benefits to making this recipe is that the next morning, it just dissolves, and the honeycomb, it just dissolves and ends up in the pot. But there's still residue on that coffee filter that's still in the pot. So the next cup of coffee you make, or pot of coffee, it is so delicious. I can't even describe how freaking delicious running some water through the coffee pot with honeycomb in the filter. It just makes the best cup of coffee ever. I can't describe it any other way. I'm sure that's a well-known trick, but I discovered it by accident because last time I made this, which was only about a week ago, was the first time, and I was being kind of lazy, to be honest with you, and I didn't want to break out a regular pot and pan and stuff, and so I was like, who said I can't make it in a coffee machine? There's no reason I shouldn't be able to. So I just went for it. And I poured some of the honey in the pot. And then, you know, it just kind of hit me. I was like, okay, I'll put some honeycomb in the filter. And it worked out. Like I said, I'm sure that's something that's well known by aficionados of whatever that would be a part of. But I found out by accident, and I am so happy. Usually my laziness does not benefit me in the long run, but this time it actually really worked out because I came up with an easier way to make the live culture media, and I found a way to make the most delicious coffee I've ever had in my life. That's a win-win. Harry, my good friend, sweep, dirty chef, introduced me to you. I hope you saved this because I could really use this. Like, keep it active after the live. I am. And I've seen you comment on the channel before. I recognize that picture. It's unmistakable. Rugrats was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. So, there's a scene from the Rugrats that I think about all the time. And it's when Stu and I can't remember the mom's name, unfortunately. But I want to say Peggy, but I don't think that's it. But they were taking care of Angelica while she broke her leg or something like that. And Stu was stirring a pot of pudding at 3 a.m. and his wife walks in and asks him, why are you making pudding at 3 a.m.? And he's just like, because I've lost control of my life. I just think about that scene constantly. It stuck with me since the first time I saw it is probably 5, 6 years old. And I'm going to keep the live stream up, and I'm also going to save it and edit it and upload it as a regular video on my channel. So it'll be immediately active and available after this live stream, and I'm going to do more with it as well. What is the mom's name from Rugrats? It is killing me that I can't remember. I'm pretty sure the dad was Stu. So this is almost done with its cycle. I have cheesecloth over here that I'm going to do the filtration with. And I've got a razor blade right here that I'm going to cut the cheesecloth with. Love you, man. I'll check you out after my meeting. Well, I appreciate it. I love all of my fans. I hope to see you around more often. Hey, maybe later on in this stream. And I hope whatever your meeting is, it goes well. So, in my last group of shorts that I was making this, I showed the first 2 jars of media I made that I did not filter properly. And it makes a huge difference. So I have cheesecloth because that is the most recommended thing to filter it with, or an old t-shirt. That's what I've read that as well. Dee Dee, yeah, okay, thank you, Ryan. And how you doing, Ryan? I saw your message on Facebook earlier, but I didn't open it yet. I was setting up this live stream, but it's great to see you. So I'm going to let this just cool off a little bit while I set up the jars that I'm going to filter this media into. And I will show you guys how I do that. It's really rather simple. But you don't know unless someone tells or shows you, right? When I was insulating my shed, a lot of my box cutters got a little bit of foam on them. And I got most of it off, but sometimes I'll still have trouble opening them a little bit. slow down talking because I actually have a razor blade in my hands now, so I gotta be a little more cautious. It doesn't matter if you mush up the cheesecloth. You can be as rough as you want with it whenever you're cutting your section out. So don't worry about that. Be careful. There we go. Make sure you close whatever or put away whatever you were cutting your material with. I will put this over here. You really don't need that much, so I cut off enough for 2 cycles. I'm going to use 2 separate jars to get my final product. So I'm going to now cut this portion of cheesecloth. If you want to see about the length here, I'll do the best I can. So about that much cheesecloth is enough for 2 jars. Try to get this nice and even before I get the razor out. And this should go without saying, but always cut away from yourself. Never cut towards yourself. That's how you end up in the emergency room. And as clumsy as I am, and I've never had that happen, there's no excuse for yourself. Come on, guys, let's talk. Let's get some talking going on. Oh, there's only 4 people. Isn't this riveting entertainment? Must see YouTube, right? No, it's just the guy sitting on a stool with a coffee pot. Okay, that's fair. So the way I secure my cheesecloth is I just use a jar lid. Your standard mason jar lid comes in 2 pieces. So you do have a section that you can place over the cheesecloth and screw the jar lid on top of it. Make sure you give yourself a little bit of a pocket. I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. There we go. That looks good. A pocket or a pouch, I guess you could call it a nook or a cranny, but just a little bit of room in there for when you pour it. So it's not just a flat surface that the culture ends up all over your table. So I'm going to filter it twice. I'm going to pour the pot into this jar, which will be the first filtration. Then I'm going to pour what's in here into this jar. And on this jar, after I get the filtered media in it, I'm going to put, this is a 1-piece lid that I have modified with the self-healing injection port and a microspore filter. Because the live culture, once you inoculate the jar, the live culture needs to breathe, and you want the filter there for gas air exchange, and you want a self-healing injection port I'll show you the bottom of the lid just so you can see it. And you want the self-healing injection port because you don't want there to be any kind of, oh, no, I'm going to put that on afterwards. But you don't want there to be any kind of security breach by contamination. And a self-healing injection port helps defend against that. And I've reused self-healing injection ports without any problem. Let's say I got a grain bag and my grow in that bag is over. I don't throw away the injection port with the bag. I take it off and I reuse it. So I bought one sheet of injection ports a year ago, and I haven't even finished the whole sheet yet because I just reuse them as I go. Hopefully one day I'll be able to expand, the mushroom farm, and I'll need like 100 sheets, but I'm not there yet. Hopefully I will be one day. So as you can see, I did the same thing here. Really, honestly, I didn't do it as well as I did it on this one, but I think it'll be okay because this is the second filtration point. Let me see if I have any messages. Nope. First, let me show you this. The first time I did this, I didn't bunch up the filter at all, so it was just perfect in there. So this one's a little bunched up and messy, but you can see it dissolved in there. There's a little bit of stuff left. I guess maybe some of the harder wax. None of that was left in the last time. Oh, it smells good. I love honey. I absolutely love honey. And it seems like the mycelium loves honey too. So if I can provide that to the mycelium, it's like, I get it, dude. I love honey. It makes sense that you love honey, so I'm going to give you honey. I know that's a little bit crazy, but I never said I wasn't. I wanted to see how hot it was to see if I could hold it up while I did it. It really looks nice and clear. Got a rag over here. Sticky fingers. And I don't have to worry about sterilization, or I don't have to worry about the media being sterilized at this stage in the process, because it'll go in this thing to be, kill everything inside of it. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to pour it into the next jar. Just put this to the side for now. Put this down. finger's a little bit slippery and I don't want to drop the ball, so to speak. Make sure this is nice and secure. This is the second filtration. Boom. It's that easy. That looks pretty clear to me. The next step is sterilization, which is in the pressure cooker. Last time I tried to do a video with the pressure cooker running, I uploaded it, but I took it down within 20 minutes because the audio was so bad that I couldn't stand it. Like, it was annoying. So I'm not going to run the pressure cooker on this live stream, but I will show you what I do. You'll never believe it, but I start off by opening it. Revolutionary stuff, I know. So I usually will use jar lids as trivets. The trivets that usually come with the pressure cookers, I got 2 pressure cookers. Well, I got 3. I got 2 electric pressure cookers. They both came with trivets that are raised. So they're good some of the time, but they do not work with this. Want to make sure that is really nice and tightened. You can use aluminum foil to do this next part, but thankfully I got some of these silicone jar lids whenever I ordered live culture media jars from North Spore. You can see their logo right there. North Spore is awesome. North Spore, I can't say enough good things about them. So I'm going to put this on the jar to prevent any more liquid from getting in, and also to prevent any from getting out. It's nice and snug on there. I can take this out to show you guys. Oop. This is the first video I've done since I set up my new work area. I didn't think to say that until now. But yeah, my other work area collapsed whenever the Texas snowstorm hit recently, a couple of weeks ago. And I decided to move wherever I wanted to change its where it was. So I used to have it set up right next to the mushroom farm, but I decided to move it to the other side of the yard, and I kind of have it tucked in here in the brush. That's what I've been doing for the past week, clearing out this area. It was full of like thorn vines and, you know, your typical Texas brush. So I finally got done last night, and I was like, I need to actually do some mycology stuff on my mycology YouTube channel and not just yard work. So that's why I am here. Well, I'm here for a lot of reasons, but that's one of the reasons. Thankfully, I have a whole lot of mason jars. And that was my Bluetooth speaker falling down that I'm using to weigh down the tripod, because we're professional around here. The microspore filters, they're not reusable like the self-healing injection ports, just so you know. Let me put the lid on the corn syrup so I don't make a mess. I'm going for another jar right now so I can get another lid to be a trivet. I don't want to move the phone too much because it'll stop picking up audio and stop streaming. So let me do a better job of this. Yeah. If I'm going to show you how to do it, I need to actually show you how to do it. We'll probably take 5. Let me take this out of here. Maybe I can get one more in. Let me move the honey. Just so the people that don't know now, mason jars, you can get a dozen of them for like $8 from Walmart or any other store like that, big box store. If you try to get some off of Amazon, they're going to be like $15 for 2, just so you know. I'm not rich over here with my mountains of mason jars. It ain't like that, man. So, man, I could do 7. When it comes to sterilizing grain or media in a mason jar, I'm more familiar with the stovetop pressure cooker, because these jars are pretty tall. So I haven't been using the electric pressure cooker, but I can't get the stovetop working out here. I got some burners that just plug into the wall, you know, but they haven't been powerful enough to actually get a pressure cooker up to 212. And pressure cooker, you really want to get up to 250. So 212, if it ain't even doing that, it's not going to do anything sterilization wise. Just wanted to see if there were any messages. But looks like 7 is the magic number. So you want there to be space in between the floor or walls of the pressure cooker, because you want as much steam as possible to be around the surface area of the jar. That's how the pressure cooker actually sterilizes grain, or anything for that matter. You want the absolute most amount of surface area you can get to be covered in steam for 2.5 hours at 15 psi at 250 degrees. That's how you sterilize. And that's for everything. The sterilization process, it doesn't matter if it's 1 jar in the pressure cooker, and it doesn't matter if you could somehow get 50 in there. It's the same exact measurements or temperatures. It doesn't change. And it doesn't matter how thick of a grain bag you have either. It's still 2.5 hours at 250 degrees, 15 psi. Like, I'm no scientist, engineer, or anything, so I can't explain exactly why the size of the thing inside of the cooker doesn't necessarily matter, as long as there's enough surface area covered in steam. But I know it works because I've done it. So, trust me, guys. Yeah, I'm totally trustworthy. No, but seriously. Yeah. So I'm going to run this after I get done streaming. I've got this big thing of water. I don't buy a new one every time. I refill this one. So, and I like this one because it has a nozzle on it. Yeah. I feel you, Ryan. Like, even if you put them on their side, because this one, I'm going to put it on its side. And I could put another jar in here with it. That would be no problem. Like, if another jar fits, yeah, I could do 3 grain jars or culture media jars in this pot. Let me make sure. Let me actually put it in here and see if the lid will fit before I go telling lies. No, you can't do 3. Okay. But 2, does just fine. I want to leave this open so I don't think I put water in there and just turn it on and start a fire. I would prefer not to do that. Not today. So why don't you just put water in it now? You're right. You're absolutely right. And I will. Now that I know I can do 2 jars, I'm going to do 2 jars. It changes things. So join me for a second jar of live culture media. We're doing it. And I'm going to use the same filter. Actually, I'm going to put a... Did I bring filters out here? I don't think I did. That's fine. That doesn't matter. That is a little too much. I don't want to make one that big. I'm going to bring it down to the 16. 16 ounces, 2 cups of water. $400 milliliters. Okay. Remove the water. Ooh, I never turned the coffee pot off. That's good. Hi, everybody. My name's Nick. Nope, that sucks. Cut off another chunk of the honeycomb. You really don't need too much of anything in this recipe or in any live culture media recipe. The mycelium, it just wants sugar. So this gives it plenty. What kind of pressure cooker do you have, Ryan? Is it electric or stovetop? Like, is it one that just looks like a normal pot? I don't know how to describe it, what I'm thinking of. But I know they're tiny. Okay. So I got the honeycomb in the filter. Now I'm going to add a shot of corn syrup into the coffee pot. I can't stand for my hands to be sticky or anything I'm working with to be sticky, just so you know. But I love the new Tyler, the Creator song on Chromacopia named Sticky. It's a great song on a great album. A lot of really good music this year. Okay, I know which kind you're talking about. I got a pressure cooker over here. I'll move over to show the peoples. Yeah, I got this one off Facebook Marketplace for 30 bucks. So I know I've talked to you before. I've talked to you about it before, and you're like, hey, Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores, whatever is the way to go. And I completely agree. But I was just breaking it out to show the people that maybe don't know. There's all kinds of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. There's a lot of scams. There are a lot of scams. They're pretty obvious. If you fall for one, you know, that's on you. But you can find really good deals on there. Inside of this pressure cooker, I have some sterilized grain that's just waiting for me to add a grain jar to. I had left this grain in the grain bucket. I have the 5-gallon for a little bit too long. So when I opened it, it had a bit of a smell to it. And it wasn't grain I was going to use for grain bags. Because if that was the case, I would have just put it in a grain bag and then sterilized it and inoculated it. But I'm going to use this grain in a monotub. So there's a lot of nutrition in this grain that if it's exposed like it's going to be in a monotub, it's going to be better off since I sterilized it before adding it to the tub. That usually isn't a necessary step if you're using CVG, which is cocoa coir, vermiculite, and ginseng. That is a very, very low nutrition substrate. But this is hardwood pellets, it's soybean, it's ginseng, vermiculite, cocoa coir, it's millet. It's a lot of nutrition in this substrate in here. So I wanted to sterilize it before I add it to a monotub. But if it was just cocoa coir, vermiculite, and ginseng, I wouldn't have sterilized it. Because if that were the case, even if there might have been mild contamination inside the CVG substrate, once you add a fully colonized grain jar to it, the mycelium is going to be able to overtake it quite easily. But if in a substrate that has a whole lot of nutrition in it, even if you do mix in a fully colonized grain jar, it's still going to struggle just because the bacteria or whatever other contamination you have inside of it, it just has more resources. It just has more resources available to it. A big part of the mycology game is giving the mycelium the best possible chances of surviving. So out in nature, we all know that you can find mushrooms in the forest, no problem. Or not no problem. People go crazy looking for rare mushrooms. But I mean, you find mushrooms out in the wild. And you could potentially inoculate something in the wild and have it actually fruit, but the chances are very low. So that's why you want to do it in a controlled environment where the mycelium has the best chances. And even inside that controlled environment, it can fail sometimes. So you just really need to be extra vigilant when it comes to those things. And that's a lesson I'm having to learn over and over and over again. It gets better every time. I'm not regressing, but it is a skill. So I'm practicing it, I'm learning it, I'm getting better. I'll never be perfect, nor will anybody else, but I'm still not at a level where I would want to call myself like a pro. You know what I mean? I know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to do it right every single time. But if I was a pro, it would probably at least be like, what, 99%? Maybe 95? I don't know. What qualifies as being a pro? You'd have to tell me. I don't know. I do know that I'm thirsty. I usually wouldn't recommend drinking energy drinks, and I've substantially or significantly cut back since I quit working at Buc-ee's, because I was drinking an insane amount of energy drinks when I worked there, because they will genuinely work you, grind you down to the bone if you let them. But today I got pretty good sleep, but I was still feeling sluggish. And C4, it's pretty much the only energy drink that actually does anything, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure other people get stuff out of other energy drinks. I'm just saying, only thing that works for me. Other than the old reliable sugar-free Red Bull. That one, of course, it's the king, but it's also so freaking expensive. Oh my God. If I could get Red Bull sugar-free at a good price, I'd give myself a heart attack. So I'm probably should be thankful that the price is so high. Oh, cramp. Sorry. My leg cramped. So I'm trying to stretch it. Sorry about this. I gotta stretch, otherwise it'll just be worse. I do a lot of stretching. Ow. Oh my God. Wow. It's like right in the worst spot ever. Okay. It was just hard to stretch it properly with the stool. I got a stool over here. I stretch every morning and every night, but still, my hamstrings still get cramps like crazy. And I drink tons of water. I eat bananas literally every single day. Trying to see which one is the cleanest. You know what? I'm just getting rid of the stool. That's plenty of cheesecloth. This section. Sweep Life. What's up, man? I'm making liquid culture media for my mushroom farm. What you up to, dude? I saw your message about having to scrape ice off of your windshield this morning. I do not miss that aspect of driving a truck, not one bit. Heck yeah. At first, I was thinking you were going to break out a mini fryer in your cab and start frying up donuts. But then it hit me like donuts, like with the wheels or tires. I just really want a donut, man. This isn't good enough. I'm going to do a better job. I was looking at this one. I was like, man, that looks so much better. I don't want to do my mycelium like that. I hear a cat. And it's like, I don't have a cat. Must be a neighborhood cat. It's probably like, hey, what happened to my area? It's like, sorry, buddy. I cut it all down in the I cut down your habitat in the pursuit of capital. People say I look like the Lorax. I'm the not that. I'm the exact opposite. That's much better. You don't want to pour it too fast. Just nice and gentle. Man, that cat is not happy. It looks nice and clear. Ooh, that's not good. Got a modified jar lid over here. I'll be right back. Looking for a lid. Looking for a lid, a modified lid. Modified jar lid. I got these things everywhere. I'm not even joking. So it doesn't matter that I can't get this one off. If he doesn't want to participate, then he can be that way. When it comes to your media, you want to make sure the bottom of the lid is clean. In a grain jar, it doesn't matter very much, if at all. But in a liquid culture jar where you can, see through it and see any kind of debris that's in it, you want to make sure it's nice and clean. There we go. Whoop. Those are marks. I tried to clean them. There we go. Jar number 2. That's the last one I'm going to make today because that's all that will fit in my pressure cooker. This one at least. Gotta get my trivets. One more. There it is. Fit in there pretty well. On the jar, that's about how it goes. It's sounded worse than it is. Man, oh man. I said earlier in the stream that I am notoriously clumsy. And I think I prove that, to the people every stream. But I'm going to put a silicone jar cover on this one like I have on this one. But I'm going to stop touching stuff because, yeah, well, you saw, you know. Hello, everybody. I got lines on my forehead. Jokum! Oh, sorry, man. To anybody on the other side of the planet that was trying to get their morning started, I apologize. They survived, yeah. They're sticky. They're very sticky. But there was no damages to the jars. They only fell like a few inches. I just tipped over this a little too much. I was trying to show it to the camera. So I should be able to make a pretty good bit more filters with this cheesecloth. And it's not expensive. It's just like $1 or $2 for that much. I'm setting up my tripod. There we go. I've decided to just go ahead and blind myself for now. I'm just going to kind of stand around and chat for a little bit. If anybody wants to chat along with me. Seriously, got these lights over here, so I wanted to put on sunglasses. Tammy time, that's my mama. Yes, I'm still alive. Hello, mama. Everybody say hi to Tammy time. She's my mom. And her name is Tammy. And her last name is genuinely Time. It's weird. She's always telling me when I was growing up, like, oh, your grandpappy is Father Time. I was like, this woman's crazy. But what do I know? I remembered to turn off the pot this time. So tomorrow morning, whenever I make a pot of coffee with this filter, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. You're good. How's your day going? Need to clean up a little bit over here. Mississippi. Oh, someone's got to be number 50 and everything, right? What's Louisiana's favorite saying? Thank God for Mississippi. Where are you headed? Let me guess. South Carolina? You'll be in Louisiana? You're gonna stop by the Tiger truck stop? San Antonio. Okay. Uh, yeah. I'll take some. The purple can, if you don't mind. I would appreciate that. Cafe Du Monde coffee, just so the other people know what we're talking about. You know, Cafe Du Monde, all they have is a canopy. You go to Cafe Du Monde on, New Orleans Street, it's a canopy. It started off as just a street cart, so they upgraded to a canopy. Thank you, Mom. Love you. Don't forget to like. Come on. That seems like a good place to stop. I mean, it's not going to get any better than your mother telling you she loves you, right? So that's the high point of the stream. I'm not going to let it falter. So, everybody that's watching, I hope you have a wonderful day. And for anyone that stuck with me the whole time, I hope you learned something about making media. And I hope everybody has a nice night.